Hey, welcome back to the show, everybody. It's going to be just me for a little bit here, I think. But we got the pleasure of bringing a D.A. Roberts, accomplished author, just to sprinkle some of that magic on us. See if we can't rub off some of that ability on us. To where it's like we can get there. I'm like, oh, I'm just so happy for those guys. I mean, they're having some major success over in their podcast, Machina. I like I said, it's one of those things when you see it, people see when we first started this, people really thought it was weird, and I really liked it. This working together with being on different people's shows, stuff, it only furthers the research, furthers the subjects, furthers the top. I mean, you go down the list, it only makes everything work better when everybody works together and we don't have this grudge like this is my turf, nobody step on it. So it's just the fact that DA was willing to come on the show is just it's an honor, and so we're really looking forward to that. And so just at this time right now, DA Roberts, accomplished author, crypto master, he is coming on right now.
Welcome to the Three Beards podcast. My name's Craig, along with Austin and Chris.
Passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century.
Let me out.
I'm afraid that is white.
Then live to send the innocent to their death? Is this justice and honor in Massachusetts colony?
All right, now this time let's bring on DA. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. So it looks like it's probably just going to be me and you. So this is going to be one-on-one. It's just the two beards right now, and so it's
It's a good thing I didn't shave then.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be awesome? How long has it been since you shaved? My wife won't let me.
I look like I'm 12 without the beard. So when I was still an active deputy, why you could only have a mustache, and my wife used to refer to it as my porn stash. As soon as I retired, it was like full beard.
Yeah, Schwann's. I used to eat Schwann's frozen foods, and so I would cheat. It wasn't supposed to be below the lip, and I'd get it to about right here. And so it was one of those. You look back at the pictures, it's like, good God, that looks hideous. I go, what the hell was I doing?
I used to let mine grow too as far as I could go until at briefing my lieutenant would finally go, Roberts, you need to shave that.
I'm surprised they don't just have like a razor, just come over there, hold, chin up. There you go. Now you're compliant.
Put it past them.
Oh my God. Yeah. That was what Chris, like I said, Chris, Austin, when he was doing fire school, he was going there for EMT. And so, oh man, baby face, when he shaved that face off, we're like, oh my God, look at you. It's like 12 years just dropped off of you.
I tell you, though, there's no worse feeling in the world than a freshly shaved face getting hit by pepper spray. It's brutal.
That had to sting like something else.
It sucked so bad.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah, it's one of those.
My wife would laugh at me because I'd sit on the couch with a box fan in my lap, blowing on my face for like an hour.
You're just like, what's the matter with you? Training?
Yeah, it got sprayed today.
It's Ryan. In the chat there, Ryan. Thanks for dropping in, Ryan Tremblay. He's, shout out to you there, DA. Nice. Yeah, Chris, like I said, he's going to end up missing it. So he's like I said, I'll put that comment up here. I'm going to be running everything. Well, right now, I'm all alone. Even the producer had to run outside the room for a little bit. This is literally a one-man show tonight. So
was it me? I swear I put on deodorant today.
Yeah. So it's no, it's great. Like I was when we were coming up to you, this is one of the things, like, I alluded to it. It's like you guys have had some major success over there, and Ex Machina, and I said, congratulations on that. I mean, you guys, you've worked hard. You guys have really put together a really great show.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, not to that. I mean, I really didn't get to it in the intro, but I'm going to show up here. There's pretty much page after page on Amazon for your, for your books. I mean, it's what are you doing? Are you doing the Stephen King thing, like cranking out major works like every other week?
Well, I'm not quite that fast, but I have been averaging since I retired at the beginning of 2022. I've been averaging about one book every other month.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's one after another. Keep going. Like I said, it's pretty impressive. I mean, what are you up to now? I lost count after
the one I'm just about to release. We just finished the cover. I'm really liking this cover. I've got the book just completed edits. It's got to go to layout and formatting. And once that hits, we're gonna be releasing. But this will make 27.
Nice. And then everybody needs to do this. What I'm doing right here. Click follow. I said, follow, yeah. Click. Everybody do that. Click follow that. And then you can also go to his site, daroberts.net, and that's going to give you more information here. And I'll bring that up here in a second here, because I forgot to do that, and so I don't need everybody watching me as I type. Not that I have anything inappropriate on the screen. It's just not for good TV viewing. There we go. There it is. So that's. Yeah, I saw that Ryan said he's working on that artwork for you, and he's almost got it done. Yeah,
we're working on some projects together.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Chris is down there Pornhub.
Hey, I had to take down the OnlyFans site. It just wasn't really going over that well.
Yeah. She, eventually it was going to be found out that she had a page and she didn't know. I love those jokes where it's just like, she's making thousands of dollars on OnlyFans and I haven't told her yet. You're like, oh my God. Yeah. But I wanted to get with you too. It's just, because you guys have done this. So far in your, through your career, through your set with doing this, what have you found is the cryptid or monster or whatever that you have the most passion about? Like, no matter what, this is my go-to. I can't get enough talking about this.
Well, I've always been very excited about Bigfoot, as you can see on my T-shirt. If I can raise up a little bit.
Yep.
But I've always been a big, investigator, and I really excited about digging into Bigfoot. But the more I get into Dogman, the more I'm really enjoying that as well. But we had a pretty big popular burst when we released Curse of the Wendigo, and so we're kind of branching out into different types of cryptids. I wouldn't be surprised to see even a Chupacabra episode at some point.
Yeah, we did one on that. The other one that I really liked was the Pukwudgie.
Oh yeah, Pukwudgies are interesting.
Oh God, I mean, who doesn't like one that basically comes in with poison-tipped arrows?
Exactly.
And just it's a trickster. I absolutely love.
It always makes me think of Ace Ventura. Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. It's I just the whole thing. I was like, I hadn't even really heard of, knew much about it. And then I did the research for it, and I was just like, oh my God, I absolutely love this one. This one's fantastic. Yeah, it's just, you wonder, it's like, why haven't I heard about this one before? Because this seems like, forget the Leprechaun or something like that. This seems like something that would be made into a movie.
Oh yeah, you'd think.
Maybe the name just didn't have the ring to it. I mean, but they could, you could have usually had something with, the night the woods came alive. I mean, you could have something, it's just,
the name Pukwudgie doesn't exactly inspire fear when you.
No.
You're like, what the hell is that?
Well, I think it's
with like
a lot
mascot in hockey or something.
I think a lot of it is like is one of those like those 80s thrillers. I mean, would anybody really be scared of a 2 foot tall doll coming at you with a knife? You're just going to punt kick that thing right over the house. I'm like, it's just, you see these things. And I'm like, going, everybody's screaming, running. It's like, no, that thing's getting ready to score a field goal. I'm like, this is not that scary. But
About
it's
the little trilogy of terror with the little doll running around.
yeah, you got that little
They
this
build it in the
little
microwave.
fetish thing. Yeah, all you have to have is just a little butterfly net, and you've got it. It's like, here we go, we got the thing.
You'd think they would have thought of something a little more terrifying, but I remember as a kid that one was pretty creepy.
Oh yeah, with Gremlins. Here's this little fuzzy cute thing. All of a sudden it gets wet and it turns into this terror. And then as an adult, you're thinking, this thing's not even taller than my monitor. It's like, what are you afraid of? I mean, you just pick it up by the big pointy ear and just give it a nice little twirl, and that thing's gone. It's just, but yeah, I came from Oregon, so Bigfoot. Obviously we got you've got the infamous film. Everybody's seen that one, and so I agree the same way with like Bigfoot. That was always the big one for me, and we've talked about it in a couple of shows. But for me, I would say it was probably within the last 10 years is when I first heard about it, but I'd never heard of a dogman before. I mean, it was always werewolf.
I always first heard about it back in the early to mid 90s, somewhere around in there. And it was just one of those kind of fringe things you didn't hear much about. And in like the last 10 years, it's just blown up. I mean, all kinds of sightings have come forward. People are talking about it more.
Do you think that's from the fact that it's more mainstream now, and so people are attributing more stuff that they're seeing to that? I think it was a dogman when it could be something else, but because that seems to be the latest thing, like a lot of people are talking about, they're like, I think I saw one. I saw some in the woods.
Yeah. Oh, I think a lot of these shows like Finding Bigfoot and some of these other shows that are along those lines, like Expedition Bigfoot, and those have made the topic a little more mainstream, and people are a little less reserved about coming forward. We're getting a lot of people coming forward with accounts that probably wouldn't have before. Plus, you've got all these Facebook groups and podcasts like yours and mine, where people feel safe to talk about it. So I think we're seeing an uptick in sightings reports, but I also think there's an uptick in sightings in recent years.
Yeah, and I really think so. I think myself too. It's besides all the problems from the vid era, I think it really helped with everything from UFOs to the cryptid side to sightings, because more people were spending time outdoors looking around because they were home. There's only just so much. Once you've exhausted the Netflix, Armada, what else do you have to do? It's like, well, yeah, shit, I guess I'm gonna go outside. And then all of a sudden you're like, holy cow, I didn't know all this existed. You're like, yes, it does. It's amazing.
Well, the graphics out here are amazing.
Oh my God, look at the sky. It's in 4K. No, that's nature. This is what happens.
That's the real world.
That's what happens when you step outside city limits and you actually look up. You're like, what is that? And I'm like, well, one, I mean, you haven't been watching the news. That's the Starlink, constellation now that zooms past. I go, these are things that you would know if you looked up in the sky. I think that's, for me, that's been a big thing. You've seen a lot of people doing that. I personally believe that's where you attribute a lot of the recent success and stuff, and just in getting more and more people to actually talk about, those things. And yeah, Mark's up there. He likes the Kolchak.
Thanks. I'm a huge Kolchak fan.
Yeah, I don't think I really paid attention until I was watching something. I'm like, that's a straw hat fedora. I go, that's awesome.
Kolchak special.
Yeah. So what got you into the, kicked off your passion? I mean, everybody's has. I mean, was it a TV show? Was it just something, what kicked it off for you?
Well, oddly enough, Kolchak the Night Stalker was back in the 70s. I used to watch it at night with my mother, and it really kind of inspired a love of horror. And of course, then I saw the Spanish Moss Murders episode where it's basically a Bigfoot type creature. And it was along about that same time I saw the Patterson-Gimlin film for the first time. And then I watched, the In Search Ofs with Leonard Nimoy. And I bugged my mother so much, she bought me several of those Time Life classic novel books that had all the like Loch Ness Monster and stuff like that. She bought me several of those, and I just devoured them.
I mean, what about the $1 million man versus Bionic Bigfoot?
Oh yeah, of course, the $6 million man versus Andre the Giant Bionic Bigfoot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, who didn't just like the whole just like and then just,
yeah. And as a kid, making that noise when you were running because you thought it'd make you run faster.
Yeah, it's like, are you ever going to get over here? I am. Yeah, it's just. I mean, they did pretty good with what they had. I mean,
the special effects were cheesy, just like the Kolchak. They were so cheesy, but they were what they were. They were 1970s special effects.
Oh, I'll show that to my son. It's stuff. He's like, "Oh, this looks terrible." I'm like, "You don't understand. That was cutting edge back in the 70s and stuff. I mean, this was, Wonder Woman. And the Invisible Jet. I mean, you look at it now, you're like, "Holy God, was that a high school project?" And you're like, "No, that was top of the line."
That's right.
It's Batman. I mean, just the cartoon. Things pow. Smack. Just I said that was cutting edge. Words up on the screen, and everybody was just like, "This is amazing." And it's just, I think that's what built a lot of passion for, especially like the older people. And I think it translates myself. I think it's translated to seeing some of the young. It's exciting to see the younger generation, and I think that's part of. I don't know if I haven't really been to many conventions, but I know it is a problem too. Is getting the younger generation to attend these things because. I mean, let's be honest. It's like for lack of better terms, people don't like the blue hair term, but it's just, it really is the older demographic is becoming more and more prevalent. And it's one of those things. It's just like anything. It's like whether it's Freemasonry or whatever it is. It's like if you don't get the younger generation to start, coming in, it's going to start dying off.
Right.
Because you've got, this perfect time. It's like horrible, play on words there, but just for Carrie Arnold, passing. Yeah. It's like, that was a tragic thing, and here's somebody else with a wealth of knowledge in the field that's passed on, and that's one of the things. That's why it's so critical to get younger people to go here and listen to him to keep this stuff passing on, because once these people are gone, that stuff goes away. You've got, and you've had several people, King Gerhardt, you've had him on your show. These are the ones where it's important for them to teach the next generation, because they're the ones that have been out in the field. They know what to look for, This is what you look for. This is what you do. You can only do so much. I mean, it's just, we all need those people like yourself. It's one that's done so much in the field. You're like, you've got those little tips that you can pass on. It's like, yes, you see this.
We're planning on doing a series of videos on our channel, 15, 20-minute videos on like how to cast a track, how to collect hair evidence, how to collect DNA evidence. We're going to do a series like awesome. That, and hopefully, those will be around for a while for people to draw on.
I mentioned in a couple shows. Have you guys ever thought about making almost like a uniform reporting guide?
We are actually working on that. Yes.
Okay. Because I keep bringing it. It's like, because everything, whether it's like through MUFON, whether it's just, everybody's got their little different things. And there's, when I see somebody that says, I saw this, it's so critical. What was the temperature? The time of day? Right. When is this stuff? You've got to put this stuff down, because while you're thinking about it, write this stuff down.
It all matters.
Yeah. Do you notice a smell? Did you notice, was there's a static feel in the air? I mean, just anything that might seem just ridiculous. Like I smell, I thought I smelled like this minty citrus smell. It may seem like a completely absurd thing to you, but that could be the thing that DA has been doing, compiling this research. And he's like, oh my God, you got one of those too? I need all the information. You write it down, and that could be, and I think a lot. So that's awesome that you guys are working on that, because I've been asking several people. It's like there needs to be something that's a standardized, like, reporting system.
Yeah,
for these things.
Well, we are planning on doing like a sightings database. We're also going to be doing, like you were saying, critical incident reporting. It's basically drawing on the things I learned as a cop. We'll bring in, how you fill out a report, the information you need to record. And it's more than just the who, what, where, when, and how. It's like you were saying, it's the temperature, it's the time of day, it's what time of year. Make sure you're recording these things when you're doing incident reports. You also want to, or doing pictures. You want to take pictures that are have something in it for scale, multiple angles of reference. You've got to be able to record these details.
Yeah, I mean, most people. I mean, it's becoming less a lot. But if you have $1, anything, $1, 1, 5, 10. I mean, whatever you have in your wallet, those are standardized size.
Right.
So I said that's kind of like a standard thing. People drop that down in there because people know the dimensions of that. So if you can put this thing, it's pretty easy. I mean, it's like obviously if you just grab a piece of paper, that's not going to have, that's not going to have the scale that you need. But that's one of those things that I think once that comes through, I think that's going to really help a lot of people when it comes to the actual research side of the thing. And I personally feel that that's a critical piece that needs to be more focused on, because I think there's a lot of people that are way too much on the sensational side. Mm-hmm. I saw this. I think if we could get more towards the research side, I think it's going to help gain, I think, a little more credibility for a lot of people, because I think right now it's just a lot of people just feel like people see it and they think you're like Bobo out there with Snickers and chips and stuff, laying it out on the log and saying, we know that this is Bigfoot's favorite food. You're like, well, I get it. You laid out camping food. There's a good chance that's what when it raids a camp. I get it, but I'm pretty sure the bacon and everything else was what was in the green, the green room, the table back there, and that was your favorite food that you were laying out on the log. But it's like I get your point, but but that's what people see. They're like, seriously, that Bigfoot likes Snickers and bacon. It's like, oh, okay,
no kidding.
Yeah, it's like the definitives is what kills people. It's like, once I see Bigfoot snacking on a Snickers, I'm going to be right there with you, buddy. But I haven't seen it yet.
My thing is I don't get these shows that, and there are several of them where they will go out and do call blasting and try to do their best Bigfoot scream and beat on trees. And I don't really think any of that works. The best results I've ever had were just, being patient and letting them come to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like anything.
They are innately curious. They want to know what the hell you're doing out there.
Yeah, it's like anybody that's, if anybody's a hunter, the thing you don't do is just go around stomping out there in the woods making a whole bunch of noise. You basically walk around. If you see possible signs, you sit down. You sit down. You just you park it. You be quiet and you listen.
If you're a deer hunter, you're not out there going, "Here, deer."
Yeah,
here, deer.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is behind it, but that is cool. It's almost like eye effects. Like there's glowing eyes.
That's what it is. I've got a green screen behind me, and my friend.
Yeah, I just happened to notice it. I was like, normally I see it, but then all of a sudden I saw these two like glowing eyes, look like eyes. I'm like, that is awesome.
He did this animated background for me. That's just like the trees with the wind blowing, and if you watch all over the place, you'll see eyes popping in from different places. And he did another one that was like in a thunderstorm, but the flashes of lightning were freaking people out, so I had to quit using it.
Yeah, it's like shiny things with it's just like all of a sudden squirrel, and I just looked over there and I saw the glowing eyes. I'm like, oh my god, there we go. That's
I've had a few comments on our videos, like people were like, DA, at 47 minutes 32 seconds, there was eyes behind you in the woods. I'm like, yeah, it's just a green screen. It's not really there.
It's right up there again. But yeah, it was just cool. Sorry to derail the conversation. I just happened to see.
That's all right. I get a lot of comments on that background.
Yeah, 2340. There was eyeballs. DA, I saw it. So. One of the other things too is like I've been seeing a lot of people have been using remote viewing and others. I've been really seeing that popping up a lot lately in investigations. Do you guys ever do that yourself?
I do not, but I know a few people that do. We've never really done anything mystical, that kind of thing. I'm almost 20 years in law enforcement. I'm a very hard physical evidence guy. I'm not saying that none of that other stuff can happen. I'm not saying that what they refer to as the woo doesn't exist. It just hasn't happened to me. I've taken lots of accounts from people where they said they experienced mind speak or they watched Bigfoot cloak or things like that. But I look for, I'm with Occam's razor. I'm looking for the most logical explanation because that's usually the explanation.
Oh, I agree. I mean, this same. I think that's why too. I give a little bit more to like the dowsing rod, approach. Like I said, because that seems to have, it seems to be more based like in the physical than just the, it's one of those things. Because really, on the outside, okay, I understand the people that do it, but even to me, it's still a mystery. The whole tarot card thing. It's just like how people know this stuff. It's like it's uncanny to me. I mean, it's a really cool gift, but at the same time, I'm just like, I can't quantify it, and I can't teach somebody like this is how to use this research thing because I don't even understand it, let alone to be able to use it myself. So I think I'm the same way. I think it just comes from the woods background where I like to sit and just listen, just observe.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, that's the best way, because if you're trying to directly affect the natural order of things around you, all you're going to do is chase any wildlife away. You go tromping through the woods like a big dumb human, everything's going to go, hey, this moron's coming and he's got a camera. Stay the hell out of his way.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever been in the woods with elk?
Yes.
Oh God, that is something. If anybody that's never experienced that, you'll sit here, and all of a sudden you'll just be walking along, and you'll just like break through, and all of a sudden you'll just hear this. I mean, you're watching trees swinging like this, and they're gone. They want nothing to do with you. And I'm like, I can imagine Bigfoot's the same way. You hear me over there, and all of a sudden it's like, I don't want any part of whatever's coming my way, and it's gone.
Funny story.
I don't know if that's
what
Bigfoot makes sound. I don't know if that's a Bigfoot sound, but I'm just going to go with it.
Funny story about elk. I was camping with some friends of mine up in Rocky Mountain National, and late at night, I was already in my sleeping bag going to sleep. It was kind of chilly, and I was done. I'd had a few too many, and I was trying to sleep it off, and they were like shaking me, like they were calling me by my first name, but I'm not going to say that on the air. I'm trying to avoid using that. But anyway, they're like, "Hey, wake up! We hear a Bigfoot." And I open my eyes and I lean out of the tent. I'm like, have you morons never heard an elk bugle before?
Oh, no. Isn't that such a cool sound?
Oh, it's a terrifying sound if you don't know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it basically it sounds like something's asthmatic, it's with a whistle. And I said, it's really cool. Especially right at the point of either the lights going down or the lights coming up, and you just hear that. And it's
yeah, they were all scared crapless until I started laughing at them. Like, it's a freaking elk, you morons.
We had one.
Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah, it makes me think about how cool it would have been hundreds of years ago to see the buffalo. What that sound would be like to hear them.
There's thousands of them thundering across the prairie.
Just going across the plain. Because that
an earthquake.
What that rumbling sound would have to feel like because it was loud. We probably had 200 to 300 head of elk run in front of us. They're about 700-800 feet down this meadow, and you just hear this loud crash, and then you just watch this huge sea of elk just come rolling through. And it has a thing, and it makes me wonder, just when they talked about the millions of buffalo that were out there on the plains, it's like, what was that sound like? That would.
Yeah, that had to have been a spectacular sight.
We're supposed to be talking about cryptids here. We are reminiscing about buffalo.
I would love to have seen that, or like completely unspoiled forest.
Yeah, just to see what that would be like. Because right now, I don't think most people realize a lot of it is planting from the last couple hundred years, and that's why there's so many that are identical. So yeah, I mean, what would that been like, just having the multi-species trees all throughout there, just the variation, which have to have been just incredible to see. Especially in the Northwest, when just the Northwest and the Northeast, just what that would have looked like back in the 1600s.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah, I think, and try to steer back towards cryptid talk, because other people here, they're not here to reminisce about trees and buffalo. Yeah, I myself really. I think I wanted to ask you, it's like, if you could pick one, I mean, obviously Bigfoot's your thing, but if you could pick one right now, just out of everything to prove actually exists, what would you pick? Because I mean, a Bigfoot would be a huge one. I know, but it's just like I said, if you had to just pick, it can only be one. I mean, there just has to be the one. You have to pick one. Here's the irrefutable proof. Here it is.
I'd probably have to go with the dog man because that one's the one that really, to me, seems the most dangerous. I don't know if you're aware, but Nick Valente from the North American Dogman Project, him and I were in the Land Between the Lakes last year. We spent a week in LBL, and we saw one.
Oh, really?
Daytime sighting, about 10:30 in the morning, about 30 yards off the road. And it was one of those things, if it hadn't have moved, I never would have saw it.
How tall was it?
It looked to be about between 6.5 and 7 feet tall. It wasn't huge. It was proportioned kind of like a person, but it was athletic, for want of a better term, completely black. And as we were driving slowly down this gravel road, I was like panning around, and I had my cell phone in my hand waiting with the record function up so I could start filming if I saw something. And I kind of panned past it, and it turned its head to look at me. And then I zeroed in on the movement. I'm like beating Nick on the arm, like pointing at it. He slams on the brakes. We both look at it. I got to look at it for about 10 to 15 seconds, and he saw it for probably 7 or 8 before it turned and bounded down this ravine. And it was moving fast. It was completely black. Had a head like a wolf, kind of somewhere between a wolf and a German Shepherd. But the snout was a little blunter. But it had like the furry, the like tips of the hair coming up off the tips of the ear. But it was quick. It was really fast.
So would that, especially like 6, 7 feet, would that be considered kind of like juvenile, like
Probably.
a younger one? Because I know
Possibly
there's been a lot of like
female.
9 to 12 seems to be like a lot of reports.
Yeah, a lot of.
But I mean,
but the thing is, how many times have you seen somebody, something happen that shocks you, and your brain immediately magnifies it? I mean, I think a lot of these cases that where people are seeing 11, 12, 13 foot tall things, they're probably just so adrenalized that they're ascribing giant proportions to it. That if you're in actuality, it was probably, it could even be 7, 8 feet tall if it was a Bigfoot. But I think when you're looking up at something and you're scared, your brain tends to magnify that. So I think some of these cases might be just that, but they're definitely big.
it was the fisherman syndrome. The claws were that long, but those claws were that long. It looked bigger than a Wolverine. I mean, yeah, that is awesome. I mean, I've got the I want to believe poster behind me too. I'm so jealous of the sightings. It's one of those. It's like I'm the skeptical believer, but I mean, I so desperately want to see something. I mean, it's like I look. The closest thing I've had to, think is being stalked by a mountain lion.
Hey, that's dangerous in and of itself.
Yeah, it's just, every time you look over there, you watch something that looks like a golden retriever, something like that, just dart over the thing, and you're like, I've got a mountain lion following me. It's just, and you just have, and that's why I told you, it was like, you can't describe it, but it's, everybody calls it, it's like the hair on the back of your neck sticks up. But there's just something like you have in the back of your mind, there's something off.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but there's something off. And it's like you look around, and that's usually as you dart around, that's when you'll catch something. But yeah, I've been wanting that. I mean, just everybody's like, look up in the sky, I saw a UFO. I'm like, I just want to see one, just one.
Well, technically, if you've seen any light in the sky that you didn't know what it was, technically that's a UFO.
Yes,
unidentified flying object. You don't know what it was.
It's funny. You caught me in my own trap. I don't know. I always tell people that, just like I don't believe in UFOs. Well, you always see it. So I have not seen an alien spacecraft.
Or have you?
Yes. Congratulations. You've caught me in my own very statement that I get people out all the time. Oh, yeah, no, Mark, I don't, that's a different kind of danger, but I have not been stalked by the two-legged cougar.
Yeah, well, I'm less in danger from them than I would be from my wife had I paid attention to them.
Yeah. Yeah, we have an incentive not to put ourselves in situations where we're stalked by the wild two-legged cougar. Yeah, you don't frequent the bars and stuff like that.
The world's smallest handcuff prevents that.
Yes. Yep. This is the two-legged cougar, rebuffing tool right here. Matt Williams is checking in, saying hi.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah, no, I think myself, I just, as I've been doing these ones, I've really found a passion for like what I think is I've been referring to as the one-offs, like the Van Meter Visitor. You've got, I think the Jersey Devil almost to a point is a little bit like the one-off.
Or the Mothman.
Yeah, the Mothman. You've got where it's just these ones, they show up, and it's not like, I always joke around, it's not the town drunk retelling the story.
Right.
It's usually it's the banker, it's that's the town businessman, it's the church
Lawyers
lady,
and judges and doctors.
And when everybody comes in, they have pretty much almost this identical story. You're like, okay, these guys aren't making this up. They're not out here looking for a favor. I mean, I think that's where like the Kelly, Hopkinsville story,
I agree,
is so compelling, is because especially when Project Blue Book says, they're owls. I'm like, I'm sorry. Anybody who's been out in the woods knows what an owl is and what an owl looks like. And they're not going to be freaked out when an owl flies into the window.
Right.
That's going to be a normal occurrence that they're used to seeing all the time.
And you're not going to look at an owl this tall and go, it was 12 feet tall.
Yeah. Yeah. Sandhill crane, that's the Mothman. It's like, no,
I've
know what a
seen sandhill cranes, they are pretty big, but it doesn't account for what people are seeing.
Yeah. That doesn't have those ones. It's, I'll put that up on there, give you a nice little plug.
Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. It's two big, big names in there. And it's, I really think not only is that so cool that that's where the term the Little Green Men came from. It was just the story about how this family was under siege by these small statured creatures. And I think that's one of the things, because whether it's the Loveland Frogmen, the Pukwudgie, the Hopkinsville, goblins, I mean, you have all these creatures about the same stature. Do you think there's subspecies of the same ones, or do you think this is just multiple? I mean, the visitors from another. I mean, there's so many different possibilities could be, but it seems like it might be just kind of like how people refer to it as like the small Bigfoot. I can't think of the name now. They refer to yeah. I can't. Brian,
you would put me right on the plate.
Yeah, Brian might know, but it's like this. There seems to be that small statured creature, and I've often wondered if that's one of the things that people see, like in the cave systems.
It could be. I mean, all of these cryptids could be using these cave systems. Look at Mammoth Cave. I mean, they have no idea how deep or how far that cave system actually goes. Missouri is riddled with caves. There's all kinds of caves around here. And if you look at the David Paulides Missing 411 map and overlay that with a map of major cave systems in the United States, those clusters are very close to major cave systems.
I think that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yep. Yeah,
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Brian.
it,
Yeah. What's it? Albatwitch? Is that how?
I don't know that I've ever actually spoken it out loud. I've only read it.
Albatwitch. Let's say. That's I'm just going to go with the Albatwitch. That's what I'm going to go with, because that's how phonetically I'm going to say it. So there's just
works for me.
Yep, that's what we're going with. That's forever for now. At least until the end of the show. That's what it's called. Oh my God, yeah. It's one of those, as we've done the show. It's just there's been so many. I mean, I'm looking forward to doing some other ones. Like my sister made this one. I don't know if you watched that episode, she made this for me. I absolutely love them. The Fresno Nightcrawlers.
Oh yeah, those are creepy.
She made this, so that was the other one I fell in love with, was the ghost pants. I mean, it's like, how cool is that cryptid? The one video of the house, I could easily go with somebody that says this is faked. It was, you could see, with wires. But for me, the one that was done out in the woods, that one I have a hard time figuring out how they could possibly rig it, because of just the angle of the cameras and the way it's done and the way it walks. The way it goes across, it doesn't go at the angle is off to where it would, for rigging. I mean, it would be a really complicated puppeteer system that somebody would have to be up there to pull that off. You couldn't just move something along a string. And so the one that was taken out in the state the state park, that one is pretty compelling. But I mean, that one's another one of those one-offs. I mean, it's not something that's seen again, and that one's pretty cool. So the Fresno, yeah. So that's what Alba Witch is what it's, the Alba Witch.
There's a lot of those that are just absolutely terrifying. I mean, when you really think about it, the ones that scare us the most are the ones that make us feel not at the top of the food chain. They're the attack stories. They're the in the case of the Hopkinsville, when they were actually engaging in firefights, they were shooting at them. Of course, then you've got Bigfoot cases that are very similar, like the siege at Hanabi, where that family was basically engaging Bigfoot that were trying to get into their house. You've got these attack stories, and those are the ones that stick with us, because I think, and this is partially why I enjoy being a horror writer. I think on a certain level we want to be frightened, and I think it's one of those primitive instincts in us. And there's a theory called the uncanny valley theory, which psychological tests of people done all across the world indicated the same thing, that people from grossly different parts of the world, vast distance between them, people on all continents from all walks of life, all have a deep-seated psychological fear of something that looks almost human in the dark, which leads me to believe that at some point in our evolution, there was something in the darkness that hunted us.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I've actually found it's a little small, but people can zoom in a little bit, and that's the same one. It's where the closer it gets to the human likeness, the more it's just like I said, people you freak out. It's just like you said. It's just it goes there, and then all of a sudden, there's just that boom, and it's just I think that's where I think they do that with a lot of, as when it comes to the AI and robotics, the closer it is to human like, the more freaked out we get.
Right.
Because you start, I think I would say it's because you start feeling like, holy crap, I can be replaced. And you mentioned the books, and that was one of the things I wanted to get to put you on the spot on there too. Which is your favorite book?
I always tell everybody that my favorite one is the one I'm currently writing, but I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for the Ragnarok Rising series, because that was the first series I did.
Nice. So yeah, it's one of those, because you got to have the gratuitous plug, for your own work to get that out there. While we got you too, is when's that book coming out? Do you know? Do you have a release date yet?
The next one that we're just about to drop is called Man's Marauders: A Planet Too Far. It's a sci-fi novel. It's in the vein of the old Robert Heinlein novels. It's pure sci-fi.
Nice.
And hopefully it will be out sometime later this week. Depends on how long layouts and formatting takes me. But since I own my own production company for the books, I pretty much control the schedule. So edits are done, covers done. Formatting and layouts are all I've got left, so we should have a release details within probably the next couple of days. Yeah,
because I think your latest one the Apex Predator? Is that the one that
Apex Predator Dark Moon was the last release? That was about 2 months ago.
Yeah, the Kindle. Yeah, there's a look right here. I was just looking at your things, and that was, I think,
and that's the fifth book of the Apex Predator series.
Yeah, June 27th was when that was. Yeah, so that's not. I mean, that definitely helps when Darkwater Endeavors is, when you got the fast track with Darkwater Endeavors, it's pretty, makes it pretty easy.
It does make it a lot easier.
It does. It's like you
have these little meetings with myself. When do I want to release this? Oh, I don't know. I think I should do this.
Hey, when you're tight with the CEO of the publisher company, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's and the CFO, which I'm sure is the one that's connected to the One Ring.
Yeah, that's the wife.
Yeah, the CFO. Yeah, that's one of the things is you've got one. I mean, I personally, it's like for me, I've never.
Thank you, Mark.
Like, because I know you've written some books. I know a lot of people that have. It's like for me, zombies has never really. I mean, I've liked it, but it's never been a passion for me. I mean, it's one of those, World War Z, loved it. And I said I thought it was an awesome movie. Walking Dead. It's just I feel like they drug it on way too long for me.
I stopped watching Walking Dead when it became a soap opera with zombies.
Yeah,
which is about season 2, season 3, right about that point.
Well, I think in 2, it's like with the way that you and a couple other people that have written your books, I prefer the more realistic thing, because like when I watch the show, you're like, oh my God, how do we save ourselves? And I'm looking around. You see that sharp stick standing right next to you?
Yeah.
That's your weapon. And guess what? It never runs out of ammo. Stabby, stabby. That's all
Right.
you got to do. And I'm like, and you see these people freaking out. I'm like, why are you running? The thing is a slow moving. I'm like, it go World War Z. Okay, you run. You know, those things are
My
super
series
fast.
is that way too. There are different types of zombies, and some of them are very fast.
Yeah. So when you have some of those ones, like that's where it's like when you write these things, I like that, but I also just like the people that base it a little bit more on a reality basis, like how people would survive, not just like, you know, we got to have Negan, you know, eeny, meeny, miny, mo with a, you know, wire wrapped baseball bat. Because in my head, I'm like, okay, guys, there's only a few of us humans left. So why are we killing each other off? This makes no sense. I go, I get it. Bob decided to destroy the food crops. He probably needs to go. Okay. You know, he's killing all of us. I go, you know, he's a liability. I go, but when you're just going around, like, he looked at me funny, bap, they're gone. I'm like, that was the guy picking the corn yesterday, man. What are you doing? I go,
no kidding. Now you've got more work for yourself.
Yeah. Now we got to work twice as hard to pick the crops. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Stop doing that crap.
I know. It's just, you know, going around in a biker gang, you're watching them all burn fuel. You're like, you guys realize there isn't a Chevron station, right? What do you just do rolling around burning fuel? I'm like,
yeah, unless you got a guy making biodiesel in the back that we don't know about.
Yeah. I'm like, we got to get somewhere in the reality side of this thing, because this is no. And so when I have you and other people writing stuff like it, it's nice. Yes, you know, there's more realistic, you know, I go, because this is what we need. It's like reality. It's like, this is, you know, you see stuff like shows like Survivor, you know, you're watching these things, You're like, you know, you see these people, it's like, hey, we have a chicken over here that's laying eggs, let's cook it. You're like, no, it's producing protein. Why would you cook it?
Keep feeding it.
Yeah, you know, those
Let's
bugs
go to the eggs hatch.
Yeah, you know, those bugs that you're choking down, feed it to the chicken. Guess what? Next morning, there's some awesome eggs that you can mix in with your little cup of rice. I go, it's not hard here, people.
Exactly. Think logically, and that's why I don't like a lot of these shows. They're doing stuff for sensationalism, and they're not basing it on how people would logically react.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have those people that just go psycho, but I mean, there's just a lot of people who just be like, you know, I think eating all of our food tonight is probably not the best idea. We might want to.
You want to stretch this out a little bit.
Yeah, might want to stretch this out. Like you said, not eat the egg-laying chicken. That's probably a great place to start. You know, let's keep them alive. But yeah, so we're almost out of time here, because I know you got to run. You've got bigger things to get to, your own show.
we need to do this again when I'm not an idiot and book it on the same night of my own show.
Oh, do you normally have your show on Wednesdays?
Wednesdays and Saturdays, but we won't have. We'll have a show this coming Saturday, but the next 2 weekends after that, I'm going to be at conventions, so I won't be only doing Wednesday shows. Yeah,
because we're always Wednesdays. So what we could probably do is maybe like we could do it a little longer. Maybe either figure out, you know, one of those things, either force Machina to, you know, bump themselves back, or we start a little earlier.
I'm sure we could probably do that. Yeah, bump ourselves back a little bit.
Yeah, which
I know a guy.
Yeah, you know a guy, and you know, who doesn't like the little guy telling the bigger show, he does like what they need to do. Yeah, you guys need to reschedule for us.
You know what we ought to do is start out on yours and just merge it straight into mine.
I'd be fine with that one. Pick one of these things and we just do a marathon. It's like if somebody has to drop off, I'd be game. I'm always
just simulcast it. If we can figure out how to make the two systems work together, we should do that.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. So, but everybody go to Amazon, support them there. Also go to, put them up on screen real quick before you head out of here, because we've got to get you off of here. So right here. So go to Amazon right now, follow him, pick up a book or two or three or all of them. Make it a happy Christmas for him.
Definitely. Thank you.
Buy the package lot, and then I said you'll catch up there. Or you can also go to his site, daroberts.net, and you can get all the information on the different book series that he has. The ones are coming up, the fantasy that's coming soonish. His timeline, where he's going to be, what he's going to do, catch up on the Ex Machina. I've got that name down now. It's not Machina, it's Machina. So it's for everybody. Yep. So, all right, sir. Will you enjoy your show? Like I said, I'll tune in here after a bit. Like I said, after we wrap this up and check it out and stuff. But I
Awesome.
really appreciate you coming on.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
We definitely got to do it again, and we'll figure out how to make the logistics work where we can just blend it into one show and
That'd be cool.
Everybody can jump in.
Yeah, I would love that. I think that'd be a blast. So, yeah.
All
So
right,
if anything, if we can't, it wouldn't be hard for just me to sign off, and then all of a sudden, it's like with the magic of links, all of a sudden, boom, I'm here, and I'm on your side. So there we go.
We can probably do that too. We'll figure something out. All right, thanks, man.
Take care. Have a great night.
You too, man.
All right, so everybody, I said you can tune in. Ex Machina is going to be popping up over there on YouTube here, starting about 9 o'clock. So he had to go. But yeah, I appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll get the two compadres had some problems. So I think Austin had a truck breakdown, and then Chris was helping his son with a school project. So that definitely takes priority over the show because families come first. So definitely take care of them. But if anybody that's still watching got any questions for me, fire away. I've got a couple more minutes here before I'm gonna log off. We're gonna talk. We have got a couple of really good shows coming back. We've got the rescheduling. Name is failing me. If Mark's still on here, he can help me. We just had him on. Give me a second here. I'll find it out. We rescheduled him for next week, so he'll be back on to talk music, and then we're gonna be talking about the food problems that we're having. She has a book out. It's Toxic Nation is the name of the book, and we're going to be talking about just the problems with the food supply, and so that'll be in 2 weeks. So we'll be doing that. I wasn't prepared to talk about this, which anybody that's watched the show, that's not a surprise. Yeah, no, King. I said, when will the zombie apocalypse happen? I don't know. Everybody's seen that viral video of the bug that's like half eaten and it's still crawling around. So I guess it's possible. I've always just wondered if it was even possible for somebody to be dead and just be wandering around and doing stuff. And that's we'll be talking about this. I think probably it'll work out with her too, is talking about the supply chain as well, because that will definitely, with hopefully they can avoid it, but this weekend it's looking like it's going to be a strike on for the railroads. So food, some food things can become possibly can become a little scarce. So everybody just if you've got some necessities, you might just make sure you got them on hand, wait, pick them up. It's not, I don't know if it's going to be anything like we had with the vid where just looks like it's, a hurricane, supply thing where shelves are looted, but it's just one of those, if you got it, pick up an extra box of macaroni and cheese, pick up a few extra packs of ramen. It's like, it never hurts to have those, especially we live in here in Florida. With hurricane season, it's always good to have a few things on hand. I know Amazon's got them, but other ones, water, like for water, people can buy bottled water, but it's really good idea to have water purification tablets, or there's like a thing called Life Straw. You can take that Life Straw, you can go out to a puddle right out in the street, and you could drink right out of it, and it's going to filter it out with no problem. And so you do that, you have, your drinking water isn't really going to be an issue, because, especially down here in Florida, we got ponds and lakes everywhere. Scoop the water in there, drink it out with the Life Straw, you've got water. So that's not, if you can get one of those, purification tablets, boiling, the Lost Art have those things. There's a lot of ways to get around stuff. Nobody needs to do the panic buy, because it's just one of those. It's just a good idea to have stuff. The Lost Art of canning. Who knows how to can? That's one of the things that used to be done all the time, and it's just it impresses me. I see a lot of people putting in the freezer, but the same thing. Power goes out, freezer goes out, things thaw out. But the people that they got it on their shelf. Stuff's good for years. And so it's always impressed me, the people that can still do that. The pickling and all this. It's pretty cool to watch that. So that'll be some of the stuff that we'll be talking about. I was trying to find that information here for people, so that way I can get that thing here. So that's because what we'll be doing, I'm going to bring up that book right now for Toxic Nation, and that'll be the one that, it's Marie Jones is who's going to be on here, and I'll show that up here. So that she'll be in 2 weeks, and that's right here. I'll show the screen here for everybody that's watching. So right there, it'll be just one, the poisoning of our air, water, food, and bodies. It's a lot of ones. We'll talk about it. Like, one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is, when people are spraying Roundup and everything out there, that glyphosate is in everything now. It doesn't matter if it's organic or so it's being detected because it's in the groundwater. And so unless you have a major filtration system to filter all that out, which most places don't, even just pumping the water out of the ground, you're still getting trace amounts of stuff of glyphosate. And I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that people are going through, like the food allergies, like gluten intolerance and stuff is coming from GMO, crops and stuff like glyphosate and stuff coming into the food supply. And so that'll be one of the things Marie Jones will be talking about. And I think that's going to be a really good show. So hopefully everybody is able to tune in for that one. There's that King put up there, about guns and lots of ammo. I was actually talking with Chris there. That's one of those things. If it ever got to the point where, God forbid, you're having to fight, fellow citizens for stuff, most people, once you take them down, you have access to all their ammo. So there's not really a purpose to having these people that have, 40, 50,000 rounds of ammo. There's no real reason to stockpile that much, because one, you're not gonna be able to, if you have to book out of there, you're not gonna be able to transport it. It's hundreds of pounds. It's just not feasible. It's not feasible to take in a rush. So it's one of, we need to have a show on survival thing, because we have that to talk about that a lot too, and just what to do in survival times. So, but yeah, we need to miss the guys. We don't have our banter right now. So that's one of the things that's really good. But yeah, I'm just apologize. I can't think of the name right here. I was hoping that Mark would be able to come, but he's probably not on here to help me out with that one. So I'm not going to sit here and make everybody watch as I'm trying to scroll and find something here. But yeah, so we've got some really great shows, coming up. So look forward to everybody tuning in and watching those. But yeah, we got. I want everybody to thank you everybody that's been supporting us lately with stars, and that means quite a lot to us. And I said that really helps us pay for all those stuff. I mean, I want to thank everybody for doing that. Everybody check us out on social media. Like I said, we really help it. Anybody that comments, like I said, King, all these comments really helps us though. It's just, I really appreciate it. It means a lot when with everybody chiming in, and spending the times with us. I mean, you can also support us too by going to threebeardspodcast.com, clicking on the merchandise thing, or you can go to redbubble.com, Three Beards Podcast, and you can buy merchandise there. Stars is a real easy way. Because you can do, it's a penny a star. So it's real easy for people to just give us a little bit here and there, which we really means a lot. We're going to be rebroadcast the show next week on ERRT Radio at 11 p.m. Wednesday after Into the Outer Realms. So you can check us there, and just, once again, just appreciate everybody that's watched, commented, shared. It means a lot. Like I said, look forward to seeing everybody. So next show, we will get back. Hopefully everybody will be back. I can only hope, because other than that, like I said, it's fun doing this as a one-man show. So, all right, everybody, thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Everybody have a good night, and we will see you next week. Good night.